Long before Tibet was filled with monasteries and prayer flags, there were only the vast, silent and untamed mountains. Hidden within that silence was a prophecy, one that spoke of a child who would be born from a lotus flower when the world fell into confusion. This child was destined to bring wisdom and light to the darkest corners of the earth. His name would be Padmasambhava, the Lotus-Born One. Our story begins not in the snowy peaks of Tibet, but in an ancient kingdom called Udayana, a lush land of rivers and green valleys that once flourished where northern Pakistan lies today. Udayana was renowned for its scholars and mystics. Its people studied the words of the Buddha, but by the 8th century those profound teachings had started to fade. People prayed for blessings but rarely walked the path of awakening. The world, it seemed, was ready for a renewal. King Indrabhuti of Udayana was a just and generous ruler, but his heart carried a quiet sorrow. He had everything a king could desire, wealth, power and knowledge, but he had no child to inherit his throne. Night after night he would pray beneath the moon, asking the heavens for a sign. One evening, as the sky turned a silvery hue, a dazzling light appeared above the royal lake. It was brighter than any star and pulsed with a golden fire. Slowly it descended, sending ripples of pure light across the water. The very next morning, the king and his queen went to the lake, and there they saw something no human had ever witnessed before. At the center of a massive blooming lotus sat a radiant infant, his eyes as deep and clear as the sky. In his small hands he held a tiny vajra, a symbol of indestructible truth. Overwhelmed with emotion, the king fell to his knees. He knew this was no ordinary mortal child. The priests of the court gathered in awe. After consulting ancient texts, they declared, "This is the emanation of Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light. He has appeared in human form to awaken this age." The child simply smiled but did not speak. He was named Padmasambhava, born from the lotus. From that day forward, the kingdom of Udayana was transformed. Wherever the boy went, the air grew fragrant with sandalwood. Flowers bloomed out of season, and even the sick were healed by his gentle touch. The people rejoiced, believing their kingdom had been specially chosen by the heavens. Yet King Indrabhuti couldn't shake a deep-seated feeling that this miraculous child was not meant to remain within the confines of his palace. Padmasambhava grew into a young man unlike any prince before him. While other young nobles trained with swords and rode horses, he would sit beneath the ancient trees, gazing at the stars. He spoke of compassion, of impermanence, and the illusion of the self. The ministers whispered among themselves, convinced he was no ordinary soul, but a being who had lived countless lives. His presence brought a profound calm to those near him, but it also created unease among those who feared what they could not understand. Rumors began to spread like wildfire. Some said he could speak with spirits. Others claimed he could summon storms with a single gesture. One popular story told of how he transformed a falling meteor into a gentle shower of lotus petals. Many called him a saint, others a sorcerer. The king loved his son deeply, but he could sense the growing tension within his court. Then one afternoon, a terrible event changed everything. Padmasambhava uncovered a sinister plot against the queen. A jealous courtier had planned her assassination. Acting swiftly to protect his mother, the young prince struck down the man before the treachery could unfold. Although his motive was pure, to save a life, the act of taking one shocked the royal court. In their eyes, taking a life, even in defense, was unforgivable. The king now faced an impossible choice. Torn between justice and his love for his son, he made the agonizing decision to order Padmasambhava into exile. Before leaving, the young prince bowed to his father and said, "Do not grieve for me, your majesty. My kingdom lies not in this palace, but in the hearts of those who seek freedom. I go now to serve a greater purpose." He left the kingdom of Udayana with nothing but his robes and a simple staff. He wandered across the vast lands of India, through dense forests, across scorching deserts, and into remote mountain caves, seeking the kind of wisdom that lies beyond comfort and fear. He studied with great masters of meditation and Tantra, learning the hidden teachings that can transform suffering into pure enlightenment. He spent time in cremation grounds, places where others saw only death and horror. But there he found living symbols of impermanence. It was in these powerful places that he met celestial beings known as Dakinis, who immediately recognized him as the destined teacher foretold in the ancient prophecies. Through deep solitude and profound vision, he came to understand that the true power of enlightenment was not about escaping the world, but about transforming it from within. He saw that hidden inside every shadow is a spark of awakening. Meanwhile, far away in the high-altitude kingdom of Tibet, King Trisong Detsen was struggling to establish the teachings of the Buddha. Every attempt he made to build a monastery ended in disaster. Walls would crumble overnight, foundations would mysteriously split, and violent storms would rise from clear skies. The royal astrologers delivered a grim warning. Ancient, powerful spirits were resisting this new religion. Desperate for a solution, the king sent messengers across the vast expanse of India. Their mission was to find a master powerful enough to subdue these forces of darkness. They traveled for months through perilous forests, across vast deserts and over treacherous mountain passes. To every sage and monk they met, they asked the same question: who can calm the restless spirits of Tibet? And each time, the answer came back without hesitation: seek the Lotus-Born One. Only Padmasambhava holds the power to turn demons into protectors and ignorance into light. And so began the next chapter of his journey, the path that would forever change the spiritual history of the Himalayas. The exiled prince, born from a lotus, who had walked among both the living and the dead, was being called to fulfill his ultimate destiny. His next journey would take him into the very heart of Tibet, where gods and demons waited, not for a battle, but for a profound transformation. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about the incredible figures who shaped our world, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you in the next one.